Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Chris Evans is looking to make between $30 and $35 million in its debut. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
For any plumbing emergency, Rooter Hero Plumbing is California's top choice for rapid response, quality work, and customer satisfaction. Depend on them for lasting solutions. Book directly at rooterhero.com.
Is this the tackle?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron is going for his fourth straight triple-double in tonight's game in San Antonio. It's one of the few milestones LeBron has not accomplished in his spectacular 22-year career. Longtime Spurs coach Greg Popovich will miss his eighth straight game. Pop is recovering from a mild stroke he suffered on November 2nd. Spurs assistant Mitch Johnson has been filling in for Pop. Tip-off time at 4:30 on ESPN. The Clippers have a rematch tonight with the Rockets in Houston at 5 p.m. Former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson slapped Jake Paul in the face during their weigh-in on Thursday. Security stepped in before things got out of hand. Tyson was upset that Paul stepped on his foot on purpose during the stare-down. Tyson and Paul square off tonight at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Netflix will have live coverage. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Beloved Entertainment and the Miracle Theater Foundation presents Sweet Spot Live with KBLA's own Angelique Francis, Sunday, November 17th. Angelique is live on stage featuring storytellers from the community, colorful and provocative, for us and by us, celebrating our strength and our fire. Come hang out with us as we walk through our neighborhoods, even down our dark alleys, because just around the corner, there's laughter, misplaced miracles, unspeakable pain, and yes, forgiveness. It's all happening Sunday, November 17th, 4 p.m. at the Miracle Theater in Inglewood, 226 South Market Street. Last year, audiences raved. Best show in decades. An unforgettable night. Groundbreaking. Sweet Spot Live was thought-provoking and enlightening. Standing ovations begging for more. Please, more. It was a great night. So back by popular demand, it's Sweet Spot Live with Angelique Francis. Get your tickets right now at themiracleinglewood.com. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you in the sweet spot.
We going. My pants poster said, we going ultra. Yeah. We going ultra black. I got a toast to that. We don't fold the crack. We going. Occasion we rose to that. Going postal. We going ultra black. Watching the global change. Hopping the coldest range. Hit boy on the beat. This poster slap. We going ultra black. We going. Rhythm and blues, pop, rock, soul to jazz, till my toes attack. How I look being told, I'm not supposed to brag. Nobody fault, I tell the truth, I know what's facts. We ultra black, gray stone, skin tone, but multi that. Multiple colors, we come in all shades, mocha black. Except where I'm at and not fight me on it. Emotional stares like I might be wanted. Pitch black like the night, I'm ultra black. Sanford and Son reruns, jokes are black. Oh yes,
KBLA, Talk 1580, like Freedmen Fridays, we go in ultra black. And we do this every Friday about this time. It's meant to be a comprehensive reparations conversation so we can educate ourselves, know what's going on, be part of the solution, be part of the movement, and be advocates for our own elevation. Joining me now live in the studio, an attorney and activist who's been a very vocal advocate for reparations and issues specifically impacting the black community. She's a graduate of Howard University School of Law, graduate of UC Berkeley. She's worked in private practice as a corporate attorney, as an entertainment lawyer, and as a real estate and program attorney with public agencies. Currently, she's a real estate attorney at a public agency. Cheryce Cryer, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. It's always more fun when people are in the studio. Getting that mic all in your face. So look, we got a lot to talk about right now. We really, really do. So let's start with the victory, or I don't know if you see it as victory. I do, in Palm Springs. Total package of $27 million for residents of Section 14, and then the 6 million is just directly for them. The other 21 is sort of a broader community, some kind of aid, housing programs and business help. How do you see that?
So I'm glad the conversation is continuing about reparations, and they receive direct cash payments as part of the settlement.
They will, yes.
Okay, so I think that's
but there are also Latinos that are getting cash payments because they're part of that class, that
right.
group. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement with direct cash payments, and I'm happy for the win because it does set precedent. Not so much too excited about the other funds that are going out to the community, because if I move down to Palm Springs now, am I eligible for some of that redress, you know?
Right.
So,
and they are saying that they're going to do specific outreach to the people who are Section 14, but but to your point, it would benefit everybody
right.
who is, I guess, struggling. Marginalized is the word that they use, which is how do you define marginalized?
I mean, marginalized, BIPOC, people of color. I feel those are underserved. Those are softball terms that people try to use when they're not trying to specifically use race. So that can include a number of different groups.
Right. So, and we don't have, I don't see anywhere a definition of how they're framing it in this specific case. It does seem like a big victory, though, to your point, direct cash payments to a specific group that are impacted by having their houses taken.
Right, right.
And do you think this could it have a ripple effect? I'm thinking about Sugar Hill, people
right.
displaced by the 10 freeway in
right.
Los Angeles. And we know there's stories like this
right.
all over the state of California, for sure.
Right. So I think I'm privy to some things I can't talk about, but they're...
So future shows when you can't talk
when
about
I can't
them.
talk about it, right. So I think there is an interest, there's an appetite, especially in California. So the more the conversation is being had, the more settlements, I think other jurisdictions are going to be more open, especially outside of California.
Interesting.
So I think we consider ourselves progressive here, even though our reparations bills were blocked. We can talk about that.
Yeah, we will talk about that. Some were blocked. The specific bill that did make it to the governor's desk around racially motivated
right.
eminent domain and seizure,
right.
which would seem to reflect exactly what happened here in Palm Springs.
Right.
He refused to sign it.
Right.
So does this mean this isn't a setback, that they're going to do it anyway? And also you were starting to make a point about Cali not being as so-called progressive as we think we are.
It's not. We still have slavery, it's still...
Yeah, I mean, Measure 6 doesn't pass. Doggone Alabama has passed it, but we can't pass it.
If you look at the results of the presidential election in California, it looks like California is turning more red.
Yeah.
I don't know the statistics or the social reasons behind that, but I think that needs to be unpacked.
I think it's always been pretty bipolar, though. I call it a bipolar state. You've got the whole interior that has pretty much always been
right.
red, and then the cities
right.
where we live
right.
is more progressive.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, it may be trending more that way.
Right.
Which is weird because I thought all those people were moving to Texas. Apparently not.
And, who knows? It could be absentee ballots or people who live abroad. Who knows what the mentality behind that was. But I saw this week that Baltimore now has a reparations commission.
Yeah.
So the word
for
is
the
spreading.
city.
For the city.
For the city of Baltimore. And when you see a commission starting, like in California, we had the state first and then the city of LA and San Francisco and others followed suit. Does it ever go the other way around where cities started and then, like Baltimore has one and then maybe Maryland gets one?
Well, I think Maryland is in the works.
Okay.
Just like the city of Boston, they have a reparations commission, but their Massachusetts, their state commission or their plan is in the works. I think it takes longer sometimes at the state level. I think maybe California was unusual in that we had it the opposite way.
Right.
So I think it depends.
Okay, so before I forget, that the president-elect has said that he's going to go after endowments for schools that have diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, probably affirmative action programs. He's already said he will defund public schools that teach Black history, but this is different. He's talking about going after endowments and then taking that money through fines and awarding it to white people who feel they have been harmed by DEI. So a lot of us are looking at this as sort of like reparations for white people.
So I think the word that he used was restitution. And we know what he meant. He didn't necessarily specifically say the race of the person who would be harmed. However, he made that statement with his full chest. Yeah. Unlike many Democrats, especially Black Democrats who would benefit. And so the issue I take with what happened this past week with his announcement was there were more people talking about what he said, more Black people talking about that than talking about actual reparations efforts. And that bothers me. Reparations, for the most part, is something that our community can benefit from.
Yeah, will benefit from.
Right. So why are you giving more attention and more energy to this negativity or potential negativity than the actual legislation?
Okay, so I don't know that I'm quite following you. You're saying there was more conversation about his statements than recent progress? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got you. That's a fair point. I think part of the reason there's more conversation is because this just happened. The election is, a little over a week ago, and people are generally freaked out.
Right.
Or they're super victorious, depending on which side of the aisle you're on.
Right. And but still, when some of us went up to the Capitol back in August, I mean, that was an emotional weekend for me.
Absolutely.
That was emotional. That SB 1403 was something I had worked on a long time. I had provided a lot of comment, a lot of suggestions, but also I feel like I was the originator of the idea of having reestablishment of a Freedmen's Bureau. So I took it very personal. But also a lot of media was talking about the bills when they were blocked, but not necessarily a lot of people in my community, people in the Los Angeles Black community. I felt that, because they were directly impacted by that should have been more of a conversation. But again, I'm seeing more that, Donald Trump is saying he's going to give white people reparations.
I guess I don't have perspective because we talked about nothing but what happened in California for 2 months.
You were on it. You were on it. Oh, yes.
Maybe I don't have perspective, but generally, I think that's something that I agree with you on, is why we need to focus on what we want, not what we don't want. Sahara Ali says it every week on the show. It's difficult during times like these, but I think maybe more important than ever.
Right. We need to play offense.
Yeah.
We don't need to play defense. So what's next?
Or be like Kobe and do both.
Right.
You know what I mean? Do both.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. So what's next
is what you said. Yeah.
And so the governor has 4 areas that he would like to cover: civil rights, climate change, reproductive rights, and immigration. Do Black people fall under any of those 4 areas?
Civil rights.
Question. Are you sure about that?
Well, that's where we come in.
Right.
And one of the things that I really wanted to get into with you today, which we will, is, I want you to put your lawyer hat on, even though I know this is emotional, and talk about what strategically makes sense to get to our goal, which is really to get a Freedmen's Bureau and get a funding mechanism, which is and even possibly the return of that restitution bill. So back to your point about what's next, I want to get your take from a legal perspective, but I wanted to start with what I consider a major palate refresher, even though it's not perfect. $6 million going to mostly Black people and some Latinos who had their land snatched. Another $20 million in sort of general reparatory. I think that's really good news.
I think so too.
And so I just want you guys to breathe that in, and then we'll talk legal strategery, which is probably not a word, with attorney Cheryce Cryer when we come forward. It's a Freedmen Friday on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
One fight, yeah. The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a MyLowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe'sRewards, because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Attorney Cheryce Cryer is with me. She's got a lot of skills in her skill set. Graduate of Howard University School of Law and UC Berkeley undergrad. So, California, you know, you drew a straight line from what Trump said to what we ought to be focusing on, which is our goals. I feel like California reparationists, this is just me, I feel like we dropped the ball in the sense of people were so mad and worried about going after the legislative Congressional Black Caucus that we let a corporate Dem take Bradford's seat. Laura Richardson is now in his seat, and I think Michelle Chambers would have been a better choice for reparations. I wish we would have focused more energy. That seat was decided by something like 3,000 votes.
So which one of those candidates, because I did ask both of them, of course, you know, what's your stance on reparations?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't vote for them, but still I wanted to know so I could pass the information along. But I believe Michelle is good friends or close with Tina McKinnon. So for me, can I trust when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time? So I don't even know if I personally, and it's just me, I'm not representing any organization when I say this, can I trust the Congressional Black Caucus or California Black Caucus to bring back reparations bills, substantive? No. So
that's their job. I mean, it's their job. It's their job.
It was their job, and they didn't do their job. We sent them to Sacramento, and they They stabbed us
you
in
know,
the
it's
back.
interesting. I'm
So-
glad you said that because I have heard that people are mad at her for being friends with McKinnon and because McKinnon did a spot for her. I still think we would have been better served by having Michelle Chambers, given her track record as a progressive, who is funding her. You know, Richardson took a lot of cop money, oil money, tobacco money. We'll see. I mean, hopefully she'll be cooperative because it sounds like you got assurances from both of them.
Right. So hopefully she will do what she said she will. I don't know what those bills actually look like, but one thing I've always stressed, I've said this for many years, Black people have to stop relying on Black Democrats to get bills passed that benefit our community. We need to look at bipartisanship. And so I didn't know how this played out in the legislature until this year. I didn't know those reparations bills were owned by the Black Caucus. So because they didn't support them, you know, at the last stage, no one else wanted to touch them.
Of course. But in a state like California, does that make sense when Republicans, when Dems have a supermajority, whether they're Black or otherwise, and Republicans have a hard time moving anything, number one. Number two, they tend to oppose us on every single thing.
Except, and this could have been a ploy, except SB 1403 and 1050.
I was a ploy. I absolutely believe that was, you know. I mean, look, I'm always happy to be proven wrong on something that benefits our community. Please prove me wrong, get it done.
Right.
But I think it's disingenuous when you've done everything to block resources to Black schools and communities and, you know, checks on police, and then suddenly you feel this urge to support reparations.
Right. I and, you know, again, I think it could have been theatrics, but what would have happened if that bill had actually passed at that time?
Yeah, well, it should have passed.
It should have.
I mean, we are on the same page. It was absolutely a betrayal. But had one of those Republicans who was stunting even brought that forth, it would have lost because not just the Black Dems, most of the Dems would have shut that down because of where it's coming from, I believe.
We'll see.
I think, I mean, so this is where we get into the legal side.
Yes.
Because I don't care who brings it.
Right.
if it can pass.
Right.
I just don't want the theatrics.
Right.
I don't care if it's, you know, a Korean Republican from Orange County.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Policy over party for sure.
All day.
But what is effective is the question. And so it sounds like, and I, you know, I've heard this, I mean, I talk to Billion almost every day, and I've heard this from a lot of other reparationists in California, that they're abandoning the legislative Black caucus. And to me, that doesn't seem strategically smart. I feel like now we're in a season where we actually could primary people next round. So why not force our legislators to do their job? Is that more strategically effective? And legally, is there another way around this?
Right. So two things. I have a degree in sociology, and I didn't think I was going to be using my degree, but I feel like I'm using it now. I think we are probably going to see a rebranding of the Democratic Party. I think we're going to see nationally a lot more people leaving the Democratic Party, not just people who feel like the Democratic Party hasn't done anything for them. So, and I think that's something that they need to do. They need to rebrand because they totally missed the mark on what Americans wanted and what they thought Americans wanted out of their elected officials and their leaders. They missed it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually agree with that, but that's okay.
Okay.
We don't. I think, you know, yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff at play, but that's okay. And I don't know that any rebranding is going to fix it anyway.
Right. But that's where I think they should go, and I think again we'll see a lot more people. But strategically, and I don't know if this is from a legal perspective, we need to ensure in the Black community that we are part of those 4 pillars that the governor's office or the governor is focusing on. We need to ensure that, you know, we have bills that are specific to us and we are part of this emergency session. Because if not, the governor went this week to the White House to ask for money for litigation, potential litigation.
Right, because California is the main whipping boy typically. in the past when Trump was in office.
Right. But they also, the governor of Illinois, the governor of Washington, and not so much, but the governor of Maryland also, they all came out with very similar statements to say, we're protecting everyone. We're a protective state. If you want to come here, we're going to stand up against Trump. Again, Westmore's office did not specifically say that, but the other governors did. Okay. And so they're preparing, I guess, for a Trump administration, whatever that means. And specifically, our government is preparing for litigation. But if they're preparing for litigation, are they preparing to litigate for us? I don't think that we were included in that equation, because if we were, we would have had a Freedmen's Bureau that would have protected us legally.
Yeah, well, so there's a lot to unpack there, but let's take it one piece at a time. When I was asking you about legally, what I was asking, is there another way? Can it be an initiative process? Of course, that doesn't seem real productive given what happened with Proposition 6. Is there another way to get these laws in place other than going through the legislature?
The federal level? Potentially. Yeah. Again, so I personally sent letters again to the White House and to VP Kamala Harris because I really thought she was going to win.
I thought she was going to win too.
I mean, I was convinced. And so
didn't happen.
Right. Didn't happen. Shocked me. And I said,
I mean, it could have happened, but we'll never know. I think they cheated. I'm not going to lie, but doesn't matter if I can't prove it.
Right. But I think if we have a Freedmen's Bureau at the federal level, then we have protection at the federal level. And me personally, I don't see a Donald Trump administration blocking a bill like that or an agency. And maybe I'm being hopeful, but
boy, I hope you're right. I do think you're being hopeful, but I again, please let me be wrong.
Yeah, but if he's talking about restoration, restorative justice, etc., for someone who's discriminated against, and to be clear, there was a dinner with the Black Republicans a few months ago, and the sound bites that came out of that, the majority were he felt Black people or Black men could identify with him because he was being unfairly prosecuted, etc. But he also said, and this didn't get much play, hey, Black people, you built this country. Okay, so I think there's a way.
He was trying to get votes.
Right, but I still think there's a way to wedge in our issues.
I'm here for it, but here's the thing. Well, first of all, Friday Jones says, I don't think it's fair to blame advocates for one race decided by 3,000 people. That may be. I just think we would have had the power to sway that race is all I'm saying, Ms. Jones. But the president-elect also made a disparaging mark about reparations on his Twitter, in which he said it's one of the things that Kamala Harris plans to do. He said he put that on a long list of terrible things that she planned to do. So to me, he's already made a statement against reparations.
But he turned around and made a statement for a form of reparations. So, which one is it? For me, I'm in my mind. Which one is it?
I think we're about to find out.
I think we are. But again, bipartisanship. So now there's a majority Congress and the Senate are majority Republican.
Right, the House of Representatives and the Senate. We'll dive into all of this fascinating conversation because it informs the way we move, I think. Attorney Cheryce Cryer is with me. It's a Freedmen Friday on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. President-elect Trump is nominating Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Trump criticized the industrial food complex and drug companies for public health misinformation and praised Kennedy's stance against vaccine mandates, promising to restore transparency and scientific integrity in health agencies. Elon Musk announced he will work without compensation as head of the new Department of Government Efficiency under President-elect Trump. He expects the role to be challenging and to make many enemies. And Advance Auto Parts is closing over 700 locations nationwide as part of a restructuring plan. About 500 corporate and 200 independently owned stores will shut down by mid-2025. And the Christmas action comedy film Red One is hoping to do a bit of damage at the box office this weekend. The movie, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Chris Evans, is looking to make between $30 and $35 million in its debut. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
For any plumbing emergency, Rooter Hero Plumbing is California's top choice for rapid response, quality work, and customer satisfaction. Depend on them for lasting solutions. Book directly at rooterhero.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron is going for his fourth straight triple-double in tonight's game in San Antonio. It's one of the few milestones LeBron has not accomplished in his spectacular 22-year career. Longtime Spurs coach Greg Popovich will miss his 8th straight game. Pop is recovering from a mild stroke he suffered on November 2nd. Spurs assistant Mitch Johnson has been filling in for Pop. Tip-off time at 4:30 on ESPN. The Clippers have a rematch tonight with the Rockets in Houston at 5 p.m. Former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson slapped Jake Paul in the face during their weigh-in on Thursday. Security stepped in before things got out of hand. Tyson was upset that Paul stepped on his foot on purpose during the stare-down. Tyson and Paul square off tonight at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Netflix will have live coverage. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Linking social justice and climate justice all year long.
We're unapologetically progressive.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Join the Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center for a great day in Black Hollywood. Friday, November 15th, 7 p.m. at the Regal LA Live Theaters, downtown Los Angeles. This is the opening night celebration of the 30th annual S.E. Manley African American Short Film Showcase, honoring Deborah Pratt, Lyndon Barrios, Janine Sherman Barrios, Art Sims, Dee Stevens, Gina Lemieux Davis, and Dr. Gloria Zervine. The weekend continues on Saturday, November 16th and November 17th with over 60 short films and industry panels on careers in Hollywood and directors on directing. Get your tickets today at bherc.org or call 323-957-4656. Again, 323-957-4656. See you there. That's bherc.org.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
You've got a Pepto predicament, moviegoer.
Hey, I can hear your stomach grumbling.
Sorry, I ate that entire tub of popcorn with extra butter.
You overdid it, and now your movie has turned into a blockbuster bellyache. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief, so you can focus on the action on the big screen instead of in your stomach. When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Attorney Cheryce Cryer is here. Man, why does the time go by so fast on the radio? Nita Wilson says, by the way, we did phone banking for Michelle Chambers with the little time we had after the great CLBC betrayal. Thanks for sharing that, Nita. So, strategies. Last week, Cam Howard was on talking, but Reparations United they have a petition going to try to get Biden to sign an executive order on reparations. I'd love to see that because then the Trump administration could either move forward with it in H.R. 40 or they would have to ditch it.
Right. So I believe they have a toolkit. The ask is coming or has come from a lot of places for the executive order for the Biden administration. Yeah. I believe the Japanese community has also asked for that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yes. A few months ago.
Okay, and so where are you with that? I mean, not necessarily the Reparations United, but just the idea of an effort to get the Biden-Harris administration to do something before they go.
I'm for any and all of it, just to get the attention and the pressure on them. To do something. So what that something looks like, I have an idea, and I've emailed the Biden's office, the White House, and the VP's office of specifically what they can do now. For me, it's establish the Freedmen's Bureau, reestablish the Freedmen's Bureau, funded. We first and foremost, we need legal protections. We need legal protections as
so that's
descendants.
Back to what we were talking about. You were bringing up the various governors. Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard anything about that. And clearly, from my perception, we are top targets of this, kind of white supremacist resurgence. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You saw the letters going out to, black and mostly black students go pick cotton, and the emboldening of white supremacy. We saw it last Trump administration. I think it'll be even more prevalent now. But what kind of protection are you talking about?
A legally protected status as descendants of American chattel slavery. So similar to how Native Americans have a federally recognized status.
But we have protected status under the law as black people, right?
Do we?
Technically, yeah, we do.
So if you're talking about maybe affirmative action or the classes of protected classes, those are expansive. So they include sex, religion, race.
Right. Those are considered protected classes. Right.
But we're not specifically protected. So there, let's talk about the BSAP program with LA Unified that was recently attacked. So again, we don't have protected status.
So what would that look like? What would that legally? How would that sound or look?
Again, same as Native Americans. If you look federal funds and sometimes state funds, especially in a state like California, where we have non-federally recognized tribes, they have special set-asides financially for them. The governor's office has it used to be a standalone office, but now he has a cabinet member who specifically deals with Native or Indigenous tribal affairs. He also has a special cabinet member for immigration. And one of the things I asked, if you remember, at the town hall a few months ago was for the Black Caucus or Isaac Bryan to ask for if you're not going to do a Freedmen's Bureau, let's have either a Freedmen's Commission by executive order at the state level or have a cabinet member who deals specifically with freedmen issues. But again, we need specific legal protection. And for anyone who's listening, no matter what state you're in, my cousin just texted me. I think he's in Texas right now. Hey, good morning. I'm listening to you all. And he said you're one of his favorite people, by the way.
Yay. Thank you.
We need the legal protection everywhere. And so not just California, but there should be a commission or an office to protect us. Again, the same way there's an Office of Immigrant Affairs in many jurisdictions, not just California, all across the country. We need to have the same type of office. We are the majority or overrepresented amongst the homeless population. in the state of California, in Chicago, across the country. The federal government knows this.
Okay, so I don't want to belabor this, but I think it's really interesting. I'm looking at the Department of Justice website. They say American Indians and Alaska Natives are protected by federal civil rights laws, which is technically the same thing that protects us. So what kind of language are you looking for?
So there's a treaty. There's a federal treaty, if I'm not mistaken, between the federal government and some of the quote unquote civilized tribes. So we I don't know if we're going to get something like that because that was established many moons ago. But we need to have a legally protected status, and I feel like we had one when we had the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau was created specifically for freedmen, contraband. We were called contraband. It was expanded to include other people who were victims of the Civil War or displaced by the Civil War, because there was, what they call white backlash because the benefits were only going to freedmen. But the freedmen did a lot of things. There was a Freedmen's Bank. It established a lot of HBCUs. It helped connect people who were missing family members. So, I think the Freedmen's Bureau did not fulfill its initial promise.
Right. That's why they got rid of it, so that it wouldn't fulfill its
initial promise. Right.
But So protected status, perhaps some kind of new legal language that's specific to people, freedmen or ADOS or
whatever you want to call it. Right.
And then Freedmen's Bureau at a state level and at a federal level.
At a federal level, also recognize status as far as a racial category. In the state of California, if you are an employee, there is a specific category now on the employment racial identification form for descendant of slave. I cannot remember the name of this.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I filled out my census.
This is for state employees.
Oh, I got you.
Yes,
okay. Yeah.
So the OMB also considered that at the federal level last year before last, to add a category for descendants, whatever that was going to be called. And then, apparently there was some back and forth about what the exact name was because there was, ADOS, FBA, and they decided not to do it, but there was interference, and you can go find this publicly from the head of the NAACP. I'm sorry, not NAACP, Urban League, decided to send a letter to the OMB and say, don't add this category for descendants of slaves. Why? Because it might confuse Black immigrants. No one asked any of us. No one asked the state of California. No one asked the generational African-American student organizations at Harvard, at Temple, at Princeton, now at UCLA, if that was a good idea. And I believe Melanie Campbell, I can't remember the name of the Black Voters Organization that she runs, they both sent a letter to the OMB asking them not to have that category. Even though we have it here in California now, it was signed by executive order, even though Chris Holden tried to pass the bill.
National Coalition on Black Civic Participation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, because the time goes by so fast, I just want to circle back on two things. Mm-hmm. One, you're in favor of any lobbying to get the Biden-Harris administration to do an HR 40 or anything around reparations.
Anything.
And we may be hearing of an initiative coming from you or a coalition of other folks soon on that.
We'll see.
So far, you're writing letters. Do you urge others to write letters?
The call to action.
And if you want to sign the petition, the reparationsunited.org. Okay. So then the other piece is as far as getting the Freedmen's Bureau for the state of California and getting the funding mechanism, whatever that looks like, and hopefully the restitution bill. Those three crucial bills that we were betrayed on by the CLBC. I've been promised, and I know you've been promised by Black legislators in California that they would bring those back. Does it not make sense to make sure they do that? Or what is the strategy, I guess is the question. Because to me, again, it really is, revenge and consequences and all that. I get, I'm not mad at it, but I need those bills passed, right? I mean, isn't that the goal? What's the most effective way to do that? You talked about bipartisanship. I think that's like the Sasquatch. I don't think it's a real thing, but how do you see that coming together? What's your vision?
Throw everything to the wall and see what sticks.
Try everything.
When we went to the
all money in.
When we went to the Capitol, as soon as I got on the elevator in the Capitol building, any legislature that I saw, anyone, before you saw that, I don't know if you want to call it a blow up the passion that you saw, anyone that passed by me, hey, will you bring our bills? Will you bring our bills?
Wow.
No one except Bill Asaley said yes after.
And just for the record, that guy's never passed a bill.
Oh,
I mean, he hasn't. He has never actually passed a bill.
So the people keep sending him back to the legislature for some reason. They like him for some reason.
Well, yeah, let's look at who those people are. But anyway, understood. Here's the thing. Throw everything at the wall. I'm here for it. Tell me what the wall is and what we're throwing, and I'm going to stand with you because I really feel passionate about getting this done, and I think we can.
I think we can
get it done.
I think we can. So I'm a believer. I believe in prayer. I believe that this is a God-led movement. Anything I've said or done about reparations has not been, initiated by myself. I felt like it was spiritual guidance. So I think first thing we need to do is pray. And if you believe in fasting and praying, fast and pray. We need to pray for guidance.
Yeah. And also pray that you see who the ops are.
Right.
that are there but are really trying to stop our progress.
Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right.
We some of those people have been exposed already. But really all we can do is pray and then move in faith. And so aside from trying to try everything, that's one of the main things I'm doing is I'm stepping out in faith. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know there's a lot planned, and you've said that there's things you can't talk about. So we'll talk about those things when you can talk about them. What's good is that folks are moving. Folks are moving, and I just hope we're strategic and smart about it. Fred Peep says at least Trump seems to understand lineage. There's a clip circulating on X with him talking about $5 Indians when he was younger. His dad also marched in a KKK rally. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. But here's my question. There are some, let me not say a lot, there are some people in this reparations movement who are aligned with the Republican Party, who have really advocated for Trump, and it looks like Freed Peeps is one of them. So what do we know of their plan? Because to me, the dog caught the car. So folks, whether it's ADOS or whether you're Freedmen or whatever, FBA, the Tariq Nasheeds of the world who went hard for Trump, what is the plan to deliver reparations under the current administration?
Again, whatever we can do, whatever wedge we can put in, I don't want to call it a wedge in a negative way, wherever we can get the introduction. Because again, Black people are not a monolith. And there may be Republicans, I'm sure, listening now. I'm Facebook friends with Black Republicans. And I have been asking them. I'm asking them now. I've asked them this week, what is the plan? A few months ago it was a platinum plan. Now we're talking about reparations. Mark Carter is a big-time Trump supporter. And I believe he's also a reparationist. He may be listening now.
He was on this show.
Yeah, I remember.
But what's the plan? I don't hear it.
Right.
All I hear them going is whoop, whoop, America first.
Right.
And I hear the sound of them cashing their checks. Ka-ching, ka-ching. So how are you going to deliver on that promise? Because there were some people like the Tariq Nasheeds of the world who seem convinced that Trump is the man to deliver. I said it in his first term. You're supposed to be the art of the deal. So make the biggest deal in American history, which is the deal to deliver reparations.
And we don't know if God is going to allow our enemies to, give to us what we don't know. All we can do is ask and keep asking, because we didn't get it under the Obama administration. We didn't get it under Clinton administration. We didn't get it under, we haven't gotten it yet under the Biden administration.
We didn't get it under the George Washington.
Right. We didn't get it. We haven't gotten it yet. So I don't think it hurts to ask. And if I'm not mistaken, Japanese got their reparations under the Reagan administration. So it's possible under a Republican administration. It's just when, who. And I don't think we should stop asking for it. Again,
absolutely. Asking, organizing, fighting.
Right.
Absolutely. We're in agreement on that. Yeah. Attorney Cheryce Cryer is here. And we're talking reparations because that's what we do this time every week as a Freedmen Friday on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Many homeowners and businesses use man-made stone as an alternative to traditional stone for their countertops. Handling these products puts workers' lives at risk. Without proper conditions, workers could die from the terminal lung disease silicosis. Employers must supply respiratory protection and water systems. It's essential to wet stone when cutting it to prevent breathing in dust. Do away with dusty, deadly practices. Visit WorkSafeWithSilica.org. This is a message from Cal OSHA.
If you have asthma, you know that there are certain things that can set off your asthma symptoms. These things are called triggers, and patients with severe asthma have an average of 8 triggers. It could be pollen, dust, pollution, colds, viruses, smoke, or stress. If you know your symptoms, you have already taken the first step to managing your asthma. The next step is to write your triggers down in a notebook or journal and record your symptoms when you come across those triggers. This will give your healthcare provider valuable information about what you can do to help manage your triggers. By understanding your triggers and writing them down, you are on your way to taking back control of your lung health. Visit luma-edu.com for more guidance. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Aha, it's a Freedmen Friday, and we're talking with attorney Cheryce Cryer. She's in the studio, by the way, if you want to get on YouTube. You're late, but not too late. So you won't run for office. You won't primary anybody?
I'm not interested in
There'll
that.
be no Senator Cryer?
I don't, unless God tells me otherwise, no.
Well, you never, that can happen, right? We make plans, God laughs.
Right.
So what do we need to be about doing? This is a call to action, for all reparationists. Let's start with the big picture right now. We're at a crossroads.
We need to get reparations. That needs to be, for me, that is the primary social justice issue in our community. I know people have other things, but that needs to be the primary social justice cause.
Prioritizing it. Mm-hmm. And for California reparationists, what's your call to action?
Call to action is to ensure that not just the governor, but your local elected officials are making Black people a priority. I'm seeing now we're talking about sanctuary cities and fast-tracking sanctuary city status. What about fast-tracking reparations? What are we doing? Why don't we have a Freedmen's Commission that I've been asking for at the local level?
On city level?
Yes, city and county level.
City and county level, got it. I know that Supervisor Mitchell got a resolution through to look at reparations for the county.
Yes, but the caveat was that they would follow the state's whatever the state settled on. That was the caveat.
Okay, which makes it would seem more urgent to get a Freedmen's Bureau, right?
I've asked when I went to testify about that bill, gave public comment, I asked for a Freedmen's Commission. I've been asking RT, whatever, D'Artagnan. I've asked them. They know me. They've seen my emails.
and we can all email. We all have email fingers and Google fingers. Mm-hmm. We know now the governor will probably run for president in 2028 since Kamala Harris did not win, or reportedly did not win. Does that make it more or less effective to lobby him? I feel like part of his backing off of reparations has been about his presidential ambitions.
Do you want to win a presidential election, or do you want to lose a presidential election? I think reparations probably is going to be one of the top 5 issues in the Black community. For any candidate that is running for office for their next term. And not just where do you stand on reparations, but are you willing to support and write or sign a bill? I think that's going to be the next talking points for our community.
You mentioned, you've written to the Biden-Harris administration. There's a petition. What about lobbying the Trump administration? Are you writing to them yet, or are we waiting?
As soon as they get in office, I will send emails. There will be emails. But also, I have to talk to my elected officials, congressmen and senators. I tried to already reach out to them about it, and I'll continue to do that.
I feel like some folks are discouraged. I wish we wouldn't be. This is way further than most people, even people in the movement, expected we would be by this point. We have had some wins. What encourages you?
My ancestors, my grandmother, my grandparents came here from Mississippi because my grandfather was going to be lynched, potentially. They came here in the 1940s. So their spirit, their energy lives in me. I'm doing this for them and for my other family members who can't or won't do it. So
in the meantime, I know you want us to read the report, and I want to remind people, if you go to the CJEC YouTube, they're reading it for you. You could actually just listen while you're doing something else.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Read the report.
The California
report. And if you have suggestions for reparations, of course, everyone has a different definition. Make those, but actually stay engaged and stay involved in what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the suggestions I hear, they're already in the report, or
right.
They're in the, in the LA report is pretty good too.
Right.
So that would be a good place to start. I appreciate you coming in, and I want to just underline what you said about sanctuary cities. I'm not against protecting others, but I feel like if we're worried about the impact of an incoming administration, Black people are the unhoused. We are the unhoused. So we need protection. Even if you want to put it under the category of unhoused, are we sanctuary cities for the unhoused? Are we sanctuary cities for Black America? Because we're the ones that are the targets of white supremacy. That seems to be ascendant at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need to be a priority.
We've got a minute here. What does that protection look like? If you were the Empress, what would cities and states be doing to protect Black people?
There would be a Freedmen's Commission or Bureau at every level of every jurisdiction in America, every single one. So housing would be one of the main priorities under those commissions or bureaus.
Attorney Cheryce Cryer, thank you so much for coming in and talking with me on this Freedman Friday.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Forward ever. We will win.
We will.
When we fight, we win. And we haven't stopped fighting, right?
Right.
And I don't see that happening.
Right.
Well, we're, these phone lines are open. We'll be continuing our conversation on politics, and love to hear your thoughts. We always want to talk about reparations around here. We don't get tired of it. We are KBLA Talk 1580, 40 acres and a mic.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. President-elect Trump is nominating Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Trump criticized the industrial food complex and drug companies for public health misinformation and praised Kennedy's stance against vaccine mandates, promising to restore transparency and scientific integrity in health agencies. Elon Musk announced he will work without compensation as head of the new Department of Government Efficiency under President-elect Trump. He expects the role to be challenging and to make many enemies. And Advance Auto Parts is closing over 700 locations nationwide as part of a restructuring plan. About 500 corporate and 200 independently owned stores will shut down by mid-2025. And the Christmas action comedy film Red One is hoping to do a bit of damage at the box office this weekend. The